Hey folks, Alex McMahon here of Evolve Nutritional Therapy, and this is going to be our 6th video on fasting. Today we're going to be discussing are the different methods that people use when they are fasting. The first thing to think about is what technically breaks a fast. Now, according to some experts, they say anything other than water technically breaks a fast. That would include black coffee. Now, from an ease of use standpoint and practicality, I think coffee's fine, and even a tiny splash of cream in there is perfectly fine as well for most people. You don't want to go overboard with the cream, but at the same time, a splash of it in there probably isn't going to make or break any of the benefits that you're going to get from fasting. However, on the opposite side, adding significant amounts of butter and coconut oil and blending that up in your coffee can typically provide anywhere from 300 to 500 calories for people, and that will absolutely break your fast. So if you are trying to do a legitimate fast, I would not recommend trying to put coconut oil and butter in your coffee for those reasons. The very first method we're going to be discussing today is simply skipping breakfast. Now, this is going to be a great place for most people to start when they want to experiment with fasting because it's going to put them right in the 12 to 14 hour window, and the majority of that is going to be while someone's sleeping. Now, this person may naturally already skip breakfast, and instead of having a mid-morning snack, what they would do is they'd push that snack and the meal out to about noon. So it would just be a small adjustment, but it would allow them to kind of dip their feet into fasting and see how they do with it without having as much structure as the other methods. The next level of complexity and method would be Lean Gains 16-8. Now, this is a fasting protocol that was popularized by Martin Berkhan, and it's the one that most people use in the health and fitness industry. And just as it would imply, you're going to use a 16-8 fasting and feeding window. So that means that you would fast for 16 hours every day, and you would compress all your food within an 8-hour window. So that means that you would maybe stop your eating at about 8 or 9 at night. You would wake up the next day after sleeping, and then you wouldn't consume any calories other than maybe some coffee with a little bit of cream. And then your very first solid meal of the day would be at about noon or 1 o'clock. Then again, that night you would cut off your dinner at about 8 or 9 at night and then go through and do that all over. Now, what I personally like about the Lean Gains method is that it's pretty easy to adopt. It's non-disruptive to your lifestyle, so it fits a lot of people's basic lifestyle really well. And for people who are kind of fast movers throughout the day, and most people who aren't hungry during the first half of the day because they're busy, I find that the Lean Gains 16-8 protocol fits their lifestyle really well. The next one is going to be Eat, Stop, Eat, and that's a 24-hour fast. This style was popularized by somebody named Brad Pilon. He actually wrote a really informative ebook on the 24-hour fast that's very, very interesting. So if you're interested, I would recommend checking out the book Eat, Stop, Eat. Now, essentially, this is just a basic 24-hour fast once or twice a week where you abstain from consuming any calories for the full 24 hours. Now, the interesting thing about this is the way that they set it up, you can technically eat every day out of the week. So, if you were to have lunch on Wednesday and then stop eating afterwards, you would resume your eating at lunch the next day. So technically, you would eat Wednesday and Thursday, and it's just a really easy structure to follow. This is actually the structure that I recently followed when I was cutting weight for a powerlifting meet so that I could actually create a calorie deficit to lose body fat and make the weight class that I needed to, but then also be able to eat enough throughout the week to also perform and recover while training. So the very last method that we're going to be discussing today, and honestly the one that I know the least about, is actually the fasting mimicking diet. Now, this was created and brought to light by Dr. Valter Longo. And the basics of this style of fasting are it's a very low calorie, low carb, and moderate fat diet. You get about 500 to 700 calories every single day, and it lasts for about 7 to 14 days. This style of fasting is really meant to push you over into a state of ketosis while keeping calories very low. So you're mimicking some of the benefits that you get of fasting by consuming really low calories and having enough fat so that it pushes you over into a state of ketosis. These are the basic methods of fasting that most people use, and there's a lot of different styles out there. But these are the ones that I see people using the most, and these are the ones that I thought that people should probably start off with if they're going to be experimenting with some fasting. So as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And in video 7, we're going to be covering the basic tips for setting up a fasting protocol for yourself if that's something that you'd like to experiment with. So go ahead and click the link, and I'll see you in video 7. Thank you.